are back on a roll with Tuesday tips. I know we did one, and then for 4 months, there was nothing else. Promise you, we are working on it. Today, we're gonna be talking about this guy right here, the Sony A7S III. Because if you are a owner of the A7S III, something exciting just happened a few weeks ago. Sony released a brand new firmware update, firmware 4.0 for the A7S III, which now gives us LUT previews. Meaning we are now getting features that are in the high-end cinema cameras like the FX3 or the FX6 in our old trusty A7S III. It's kind of crazy to think. This camera is like 4 years old and still Sony is releasing new firmware updates to make it even better for us. It's exciting. So why is this feature so helpful? Well, we all know if you're filming in S-Log3 in your A7S III, the footage just looks really flat, desaturated, and it's hard to know, is your exposure right? How's the white balance looking? Because it's just so gray and flat. But you want to film in S-Log3 to get that high dynamic range and have the ability to color grade in the right direction that you want to in post rather than having some sort of baked in look. Now, in the A7S III, there is a gamma display button that you can turn on, which then allows you to see the S-Log3 really flat footage in just a normal Rec. 709. But Sony is giving us now a feature that makes it even better. Essentially, you can load in certain LUTs that you're gonna grade your footage with, giving you the exact look that you're gonna get when you bring it into the editing program and apply LUTs and start doing your color grades. This is really great because then you can expose your footage and choose the right white balance for that specific color grade. Now don't worry, the LUT isn't actually baked into the footage, so for example, if in post you do want a different color grade, that's okay. The LUT is just a preview LUT allowing you to see what that color grading LUT would look like with the footage while you're filming. Another reason why this feature is so great for the A7S III is that it's gonna give you a newfound confidence on set. When you're going to shoot, you're already a little bit nervous, so you want everything in your power to make you feel more confident and good about the footage that you're filming. And in my opinion, there's nothing worse than filming your footage in S-Log3 and you don't really know how it's gonna look. You're like, I hope it turns out good, I hope it looks good. And as well, the director or the client, they don't really get to see what it's gonna look like. Whereas if you have a preview LUT, you're gonna feel good because you already know that, man, this footage is looking really good, especially the way they're gonna color grade it. And as well, the client or the director is gonna be really stoked because they get to already see, the whole image come to life. So that's another reason why the LUT preview is a great new feature in the A7S III. All right, so how do you actually update your Sony A7S III? It's a lot easier than you would think. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up on my iPhone the Creators app made by Sony, and then I'm gonna operate my camera. So this Sony A7S III says not found, so let's make sure it's on. It is on now. Let's see if we can power it on. Now it's found. I just had to press shutter button to turn on the camera. And down below, so press update, swipe through all the text, press next, again, agreeing and downloading. Confirm file size 709 megabytes, let's download. It's going very fast, so this should be no problem at all. Ten seconds later, we're halfway through. Voila, we've downloaded. Now you press transfer files to camera. Just turn on the camera again with the shutter button. Cannot establish connection with camera. Let's see. What is... The camera's already connected to a smartphone. There you go. I just had to start up the camera again. Joining. Checking camera status, check camera response. Press allow. This probably would be easier just by putting the firmware update on a memory card and putting it straight in the camera, but what the heck. I thought I would do it the more technological way. And we're transferring files right now. This shouldn't take too long, and then our Sony A7S III should be updated to firmware 4.0. If this works without any hitches, gotta say, this Creators app is really good with Sony, just to be able to update through here, because I hated back in the day having to drag and drop these firmware updates to memory card and putting your camera. Always felt a little bit scary or sketchy, as if you're about to break your camera or something like that. But I don't know, for some reason I just trust the app and the visuals and everything right here. We're at 74%, guys. 77. Getting there. Soon we're gonna have a Sony A7S III 4.0. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. File transfer completed. Check the camera screen and start updating. Please follow these precautions until the very end. Do not turn off or power your camera. And then we're just gonna press execute. Make sure you have a full battery when you're doing that, because you don't want the battery to die halfway through the firmware update. That is a big no-no. Well, look at that. We are now firmware update 4.0. All right, so now that we've updated this to firmware 4.0, we need to then put the LUTs onto a memory card and then bring it into your camera and load them in. That's the next and final step. All right, I'm gonna put my CF Express card into the card reader, then go to Sony Pro LUT. If for some reason you don't have these folders in your card, you can just make them yourself. So I even just did that. My folder only had Sony, then I just added Pro, then LUT. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag 2 LUTs that I just bought from Danny Gewurz. We're gonna test those out. I'm gonna drag them drop in the other folder. All right, now that the LUTs are on the memory card, I'm just gonna take out my memory card. I'm gonna put it into the Sony A7S III. And then from there, I'm gonna go to the menu and I'm gonna go to the exposure and control tab menu, and I'm gonna go down to color tone and then manage user LUTs. And then I'm gonna import 1 LUT into user 1. So I'm gonna go slot 1, I'm gonna do the Filmy 39. They say it cannot be loaded. I've heard a problem about this, something about if it's graded too high. Let's figure this out. Come on, ChatGPT, give me some gold here. I've updated my firmware. The file does not exist, so that's something that I had problems. 33 point LUTs. Oh, maybe the LUT that Denny has is a 64 LUT. Wait a minute, I just realized I made a mistake there. I put on the SD card the main grading LUTs, but he also had in the folder monitor LUTs. And I was assuming that the monitor LUTs are 33 times 33 times 33 rather than the 64, which you cannot import into the A7S III. So let's redo that process and then let's see if it works. So let's copy and paste the monitor Filmy LUTs from Danny. I'm gonna delete the old ones in here because those are the actual LUTs. And let us eject. Pull the memory card out and put it into the A7S III. And then let's turn on the A7S III. And then in the settings, you are going to go to menu and then down to exposure and color. And then I'm gonna select color and tone. And then from there, manage user LUTs. I go import user 1, media, slot 1, monitor Filmy 39. Boom shakalaka. And then number 2, we're gonna go monitor Filmy 56. Excellent. Now they're both in there. Now that we've imported the LUTs into my Sony A7S III, I'm gonna show you how you can get access to it to use it as your preview LUT. So I'm gonna go to menu, and then from here, you can go to log shooting setting, turn off log shooting to flexible ISO. Then
then I'm going to use the S-Gamut3 Cine S-Log3. And then you can go back to the exposure color tab, go to color tones, and then from here you can select which LUT you want. So right now, if it's just S-Log3, as you can see, it looks really white washed out and just desaturated. I'm going to go all the way down to user 1. So this is the Filmy 39 from Danny Gevirtz, and then this is the Filmy 56, I believe, or did I get them mixed up? But now you can see that in here, I'm monitoring exactly what the LUT is going to look like when I do the color grading. So I can expose and do the white balance accordingly to this LUT.
But yeah, that easy. Just firmware update, load the LUTs onto the SD card, import them in, and voila, you now are able to use monitoring LUTs, which is a feature that has been before only in more high-end cameras from Sony. But now, our beloved A7S III, 4 years old, getting those cinema features. Thank you, Sony, and thank you for watching this episode of Tuesday Tips. We'll see you next week, or hopefully the week after. I'm not making too many promises, but I do want to put out more of these Tuesday Tips tutorials.